All right, so let's take a look at this. So, here's a breakdown on a couple of things that I think are going on in the case of Apple. You can probably apply this to just about anything that's trading this way this morning. But first up, we've got a VWAP rejection short. So Apple failed to hold above the volume weighted average price this morning, right? Sellers been sort of defending 211.07, and that's where it just reversed from. So if price rolls back under the VWAP and confirms around 211, 211.07, that was the trigger. And if we get back up there again, it'll be a trigger once again. So an entry below 211.07 or even below 211, targeting 210.31 is the sort of first major target or bigger target. 210.75 was an interim. You can take some money off the table kind of a target. And then the next place that I'm looking is down at 210. So down in here would be sort of the wider range target. Stop would be just up above the volume weighted average price. So I think I put in 211.45. You could go, that's above the central pivot. That would be sort of a major move above, or you could just go 211.20, have a tight stop. So that's a continuation setup. We're trading with the intraday trend in that case. Then, if you want to look at a range breakout, we've got the consolidation range. Price is coiling between 210.31, which is down here, and 211.07. So, when you see this kind of compression, then, usually it leads to some sort of an expansion at some point in the day. So if we break out to the long side, then, you'd be looking at an entry above a strong close above this volume weighted average price. And you probably target this 211.92 threshold up here. It's right under this big volume by price cluster. Maybe if you saw an extension, you see a retest of the morning high. But that's, stop on that would be just down below 211. So that's on a breakout up above there. And then a breakdown on the short side, if we had a clean break down below 210.31, so down below the bottom of this coil, and we would target probably 209, 209.80, 209.30 with a stop up around 210.50. Okay, and then, you could also do something based on the volume by price as I'm looking at this. So if Apple pushes into that low volume node up around 211.92, right, and it gets up above this level, above this big volume threshold here. If it gets up into this area up here, then could look for a short anywhere between like 212.30, 212.50, right? If the breakout starts to wobble, and then target 211.30 at the VWAP, and have a stop up around 211.60. So it's if it gets sucked into this sort of low air here, just think of it as having a hard time breathing, I guess, when you've got this kind of space. So let's see if it snaps back then sort of to the higher volume base. All right, so that's a trading idea for what's going on with Apple right now. I know somebody was saying, how can I look at this? What are the different ways that I can look at this? That's just a bunch of different things you can think about.